Every gun owner who carries needs to hear this. As an ex-state prosecutor and criminal defense attorney, I don't even know how many people in any given year who have self-defense gun shoots. I talk to them, I talk to their families, I talk to their spouses, you name it. This is the one major thing that I keep seeing people get wrong because they are misinformed and misled by Hollywood and the media, and you cannot afford to do this. So guys, let's get into it. All right, so we've all seen the TV show, right? You've been accused of some sort of crime, you've been arrested, you're back at the cop shop. You're in that like room where it's dark, you're seated at the table. You've got that kind of sweaty cop who's standing there with his arms down on the table, the tie dangling, his shirt sleeves are rolled up a little bit. You got that one little light kind of hanging down. Can you picture that? I know you can. And you're sweating. You're afraid. You're exhausted. Your blood sugar levels are out of whack. Why? Because you didn't plan the worst night of your life to happen. Someone else did. The bad guy did. When he broke into your house, when he tried to break into your car, when he tried to rob you on the street, whatever it was. And you did the only sensible thing that you knew how to do. You followed your training, you followed your education, and you had to shoot to survive and live. And now you're the one that's in the crosshair of the police examination. What happens next in that police show is absolutely wrong. What happens is some guy like me, an attorney, strolls in the police department because, hey, someone gave him a call to the bat phone, right? It's 2 a.m. in the morning, it's 10 o'clock at night, something like that. The lawyer, his gray suit, brown leather briefcase, probably holding a styrofoam cup of coffee, strolls through, waves hi to the cops at the front desk, busts into that interrogation room, makes some sort of probably funny or witty remark to the detectives, tells them to scram, turns off the recording device, and hey, the cavalry has arrived, you are now safe. The only problem? That makes great fiction, makes great drama, does not make great fact, because it does not happen that way. Every state that I have seen, if the defense attorney tries to do that, we are getting tased and arrested in that lobby. We will be your cellmate, not your attorney, if we're trying to bust in there and order cops around. You need to understand this. If you, God forbid, find yourself to have the worst night of your life, the only person who can save yourself is you. You already did it once. You survived the kinetic encounter. Now you need to do it again with the legal force encounter. And rest assured, the law is force. The law is violence. If you don't believe me, don't do what the cops say you should do. You don't believe me? Don't listen to what a judge orders. See what happens next when men with guns and badges show up. And let me be clear, I'm not being critical of the cops or the judges in this circumstance. The person I'm being critical of is you. Because you got your legal advice and your legal information from police shows and Hollywood and the media. You deserve better. Hey, really quickly, 2 things. Number 1, if you're enjoying this video, of course, all the YouTube things, please consider giving it a thumbs up. Number 2, we've got a sponsor for this video, and that's my law firm. It takes me, I think as you can guess, a fair amount of time to research for these videos, put them together, come and film them, all that kind of good stuff. Not to mention Derek, our brave videographer and editor, who is, of course, working full-time for the law firm to come in and do all that kind of good stuff as well. So something you can do if you're enjoying our legal education content is please consider giving our Google My Business page for the law firm a 5-star review. It's something that really helps out the practice, which at the end of the day allows me to come here and play internet lawyer for you. So it's absolutely free, takes a few moments. Just check it out in the pinned comment below. It's also in the description box. Follow the link. It asks you to rate us on 0 to 5 stars. Keep in mind, this is the internet. 3, 4 stars, kind of a failing grade. So if you felt like you get good, decent legal education content, please consider leaving a 5-star review. I appreciate it very, very much. Now back to the program. Raise your own rights. Here's really quickly how you do it. You need to understand first and foremost that there's a difference between raising your right to silence and raising your right to an attorney. One of these is much better than the other. Do you know which? If you said you're right to an attorney, you are correct. The best thing that you can do is to politely and respectfully be firm and steadfast when you tell law enforcement clearly that you're not going to answer any questions until you've spoken with your attorney. If they are good cops, and if they believe that you acted truly in self-defense or that you may have a strong claim of it, then they should be screaming to themselves in their internal monologue, stop talking, as they're writing everything down. They will do their job to get you to talk. That is literally their job, okay? Don't fault them for that. That is what it is. But if they're involved in an OIS, an officer-involved shooting, do you think they're going to wind up talking to the police and give a full statement right away? No. They're going to be given 2-3 days, maybe even longer, and a chance to speak to their attorney to figure it all out. They're going to level out their sleep, level out their everything that's going on. Low blood sugar, medication, whatever it is. They're going to have a chance to put all the pieces of their mental puzzle together before they give the statement of a lifetime. That may be the difference between a lifetime behind bars or going free to their family. You deserve nothing less. Make no mistake about that. Raise your right to an attorney. So why am I talking about how the heck do I get to you? Very simply this. I cannot raise your rights for you. The only person, if you're a competent adult, who can raise your rights is you. I cannot fax or transmit some sort of notice of intent to raise right to an attorney or notice of intent to raise right to silence. I cannot hand in an affidavit that you've previously signed. I can't be shouting it from the parking lot or from the department lobby or anything like that. Just like with carrying a gun, the only person who can save you is you. Why is it better than raising your right to silence? If you raise your right to silence, the police can basically keep harassing and badgering you. However, by sharp contrast, if you raise your right to an attorney, they should back off. Now, you got to understand one thing here. Just because you've raised your rights once doesn't mean that if you suddenly start getting chatty, you start making statements, that could constitute a waiver at worst, or some sort of spontaneous utterance at a minimum. That's all code for you can't just raise your right and then start talking and think, oh, that's good because I raised my right back there. No. If you start talking, if you initiate that, particularly if you raise your right to an attorney, but if you do anything with respect to raising your right to silence, that will very likely come into the case against you. Now, for those of you who are out there who might be saying, look, I didn't do anything wrong. I have a God-given right to not be shot or stabbed by a bad guy. Yeah, I 100% agree. But I cannot tell you how many times I have seen good people, because of the stress, the anxiety, the excitement, the sleep exhaustion, the low blood sugar levels, the you name it, make very basic mistakes in this very situation. My firm, we've got close to 30 attorneys, most of whom do exclusively criminal defense here in Wisconsin. We are handling, give or take, usually over 10 self-defense gun cases at any point in time. Everything from body in the ground to I just had to pull something out as a display, because we know statistically about 91% of the time when a good guy displays a gun, the bad guys run away. All right? Pulling out your firearm and actually having to shoot, very rare occurrence. And thankfully so. But in situations where I have had people pull out a firearm and shoot, I've seen them get the wrong day, the wrong time, the wrong street, wrong basic facts. Not because they are trying to mislead, but because they've just been in the most traumatic event of their entire lives. Right then and there, in the chaos of the scene and everything else, is not the time to be trying to pin yourself down to exact details. So what do you say? If you're at the scene, if the bad guy got away, situation one, and that's by far and away the statistically most likely situation, and that's a good thing. We don't want to hurt people. That's not why we carry. We don't carry to take life. We carry to save and protect it. The most statistically likely situation is you are a witness. You produce a firearm when someone threatens you with grave injury and violence. Bad guy runs away. Try to be a good witness. Don't go into tons of specifics as far as, yeah, if you shot, I shot 3 times, I was doing it at this angle, blah, 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 blah. Skip that, okay? I have no problem with someone acknowledging, and I encourage people to acknowledge the fact that they shot. It's going to be very evident and obvious that you shot, okay? But skip the guess, and I do mean guess, about how many times you shot. Try to be a good witness as far as giving a description. He looked like this, there were this many of them, they were dressed like that, they were this height, this body build, skin color, you name it. They got in a truck, car, a van that looked like that, they went in this direction. Try to be a good witness. A+ on that. Okay, but try not to go into many details beyond that. And understand, even that can be a risk. Because what happens if, hey, you describe it as a white van? Well, it turns out to be a silver van. Okay, it's nighttime. It's an understandable mistake. But you've now just married yourself to the fact that it was a white van. That can, and I've seen this in real life cases, lead to police questioning of, well, he got that wrong. Did he do that because he just, honest mistake, got it wrong? Or is he lying to us? Is he misleading something? Is he hiding something or covering something up? Those are the sorts of inquiries that you get when you try to give too much information. Now, again, I still encourage folks, be a good witness. But if you're in the second situation where you had to shoot and you've got a body on the ground, whether they're dead or in the hospital, that person or their friends, more likely, because bad guys move in packs, are very likely to say something to the effect of, you tried to do something bad against them, they were trying to flee, or they are trying to act in self-defense. How do I know? Because that's 90% of the cases that I see out there. The bad guys are just the victim. If you are lucky, one of them will roll on another one. If you are lucky, there's audio-video recording of the entire thing, showing who initiated and said what. If you are lucky, there are outside witnesses. But then again, if you were lucky, you probably wouldn't have been there at that place at that time when this happened. So let's not just owe it all to luck. If you had to shoot, officer, I had to shoot, I was attacked, I was in fear for my life, I will make a statement after speaking with my attorney. If they have an unconventional weapon, like a screwdriver, and they broke into your garage or to your house or something like that, law enforcement may not automatically see that screwdriver as a weapon, particularly if you have a messy house. Point that out to them. He was charging me with this. He had that baseball bat, whatever it was, that 9-iron, okay? He had those things. Point that out. Don't make your lawyer's job harder. One last part, because I can keep going on this for hours. Everybody who's in your bubble, your spouse, your best friend, the people who you go out with, I as an attorney have a name for them. You know what that is? Starts with a W. Witness. That person will be a witness to your case. You are watching this content, and if you've made it this far in this video, congratulations, you're on the right track. But are they watching this video? Do they have this knowledge? Unfortunately, I've seen many cases where the concealed carrier made all the right decisions, they've been through all the right training, they raised their rights at the scene, all that kind of good stuff, only to have a friend, a spouse, maybe an older child even, just start talking. Not a good idea. Everybody in your bubble who you go places with, you do things with, you live with, you name it, those people can also be a witness to your case. And law enforcement will lean on them to give statements. They need to be checked into this program to protect your rights at the end of the day. Exactly as if this was an officer-involved shooting. Hopefully you got something out of this. If you did, let me know down in the comment field below. That's always an interesting discussion, one that I do enjoy reading as it goes on across time. We're going to close out with our ever popular quote of the day. Before we do, though, be sure to hit that like button if you got anything out of this. And if you enjoyed this kind of content and just found us browsing through, welcome. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if that sort of thing interests you. Now to our ever popular quote of the day. This one's from one of the all-time greats, the Greek thinker and philosopher Plato, who once said, "No one is more hated than he who speaks the truth." How much hate could I get from this video? We'll find out. Funny small story. While I'm shooting this video, one of my best friends who's a cop actually called me. Nothing that I'm saying here is anti-police. And if you're taking it that way, well, the beam might be in your eye then, my friend. It's not intended that way. Hope you have a great day. Take care. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. If you enjoyed this one, please feel free to check out some of our other great content, and we'll see you in the next one.